everybody, welcome to Skinny Kitchen. I'm Nancy Fox. I'm really excited today because I invited Jennifer Idler. Remember when I did my kitchen remodel, I used Idler's home. And so Jennifer is one of the owners. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm so happy to be here today in your kitchen and excited to be cooking with
I'm
you.
so excited. Do you like cooking?
I love cooking, so this is such a treat for me. Thank you.
And I heard you've got a couple daughters, so it's really wonderful to get them, involved and incorporated into cooking.
It is. They love cooking with me. We have a great time when we do it.
Well, hopefully they're going to love this recipe. All right, so let's get started. So today we're making a skinny Mexican-style chicken and cornbread casserole. Now you're going to see that I'm holding my recipe. On Skinny Kitchen, I've created hundreds and hundreds of recipes, but the reality is, once I create them, I don't make them all the time because I've moved on to the next, so I don't remember them. So what I highly recommend, we all get so busy, the phone rings when you're cooking, someone's at your doorbell, your kids are running around. It's really a handy idea to have a recipe in front of you so you don't forget an ingredient, because there's nothing worse than that.
Yes.
All right, so here's my recipe. But Jennifer, I hope you'll help me here.
Of course.
So the first thing we're gonna do, this recipe calls for sauteing onions just in a little bit of reduced fat butter, just 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
Here's my skinny tip. I saute hands-free, save a pan, no cleaning, in my microwave.
Wow,
and I
great
want you to see how moist, how supple and gorgeous these are. And technically, anytime one of my recipe calls, or any of yours, call for sauteing onions, ditch the pan. You can even ditch the oil. It doesn't even need to have any oil. You just chop up the onions, put them in the microwave. If they're small or a small amount, like a minute, these actually took 4 minutes. Okay, so now we've got our onions. We'll set them aside. This is going to be a composed casserole. So I first preheated the oven, and I love my thermidor oven, we'll go to it later, to 425 degrees. And the other thing we want to get prepared is I'm using a 9x9 casserole dish. It can be metal, it can be glass, porcelain, and I'm just going to coat it a little bit with olive oil spray. And I've got my wonderful storage for all my cooking sprays, so I always suggest that you clean as you go. Next, when you're cooking, gather all your ingredients first. So not only are we doing this for our cooking demo, but I do it all the time. I've grabbed every ingredient that's going to go in this recipe. I know it's all here. Even if I forget it on a recipe, somehow, some way, all of this needs to go in all of this. So it works. Okay, so next involved is, after we cooked our onions, now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients to part of the casserole. So I'm using cream-style corn. Basically, it's just pureed corn. It's really fine with a little modified cornstarch. So if you want to add that, Jennifer, and then we're going to add some cooked chicken. Now, I love to go to Trader Joe's. They've got these grilled chicken strips. This is such a time saver. You could poach, chicken, or you could buy a store-bought full chicken, but then you have to remove the skin, and you don't want to use the dark meat for this recipe. I love its white meat, all breast, and it's, boneless, skinless. So love this. If you want to add the chicken, and we're using, I think, a little bit, about a cup. And then next we're going to add the egg, so just a full egg. Full egg is fine. If you don't want to add the yolk, you can use 2 egg whites. 2 egg whites are the equivalent to 1 full egg, but it's a large egg. And then we're going to add just a little bit of non-fat or low-fat milk. And we're going to add a little bit of chili powder and cumin. So I'll just measure this out for you. It's just a 1/4 teaspoon for each. If you like yours a little bit more fiery, you can add a little more chili powder, but I find that we're going to get our fieriness in our salsa. Okay, Jennifer, if you can mix this all up, here, take this spatula and just mix it really well. You really want to, you can do it rigorous. You can really combine it, really mix it well. It's very forgiving, because the next ingredient that we're going to add is the cornbread mix. And that is not as forgiving. So if you've ever made a cornbread and it's really tough, it's because you probably overmixed it. So mix this up really well, and then we're just going to lightly mix. I'll add the cornbread mix, just 1 box. And then don't worry about lumps in our batter. Just mix it maybe 10, 12 times. I usually kind of give it a little mental count. When you've gone about 10 or 12, you're basically there. And so we've already prepared our pan. Yeah, just a little bit. Get the sides going to incorporate the cornbread. Perfect, Jennifer. Now we've coated the pan. Why don't you pour the batter into the pan? There we go. It's a little heavy. If you want, I'll hold this for you. There we go. Yeah, teamwork. I love it. Gonna grab a dish towel. Okay, and I'll take this from you, but hold your spatula. And 2 ways to spread this out. You can either use a spatula, or I even use this tip when I'm baking. Just wiggle it around, do a little shake and bake. There you go, a little shimmy, and there we're set. Now remember the onions we talked about. Now we're gonna incorporate them. What I'm gonna show is get the liquid, and because it doesn't have to be that even, I'll do the first row, just dollop a little bit and go row by row and just kind of make it so that most of the casserole is covered. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna actually spread it with the spatula. So yeah, and it's a little bit warm now, which is fine. It's not gonna make the casserole cook yet. Perfect. Okay, now, the little trick here is you can even pour the rest on, liquid and all. We want that butter because we're not using much of it. Now, I used reduced fat butter, but there's other butter substitutes like Smart Balance Light. That's a wonderful substitute, but you're only using 2 tablespoons. So look at this, just lightly spread and see how easy it is. If you use a metal spoon, here you try it. If you use a metal spoon, it tends to lift the casserole. But a rubber spatula is going to be your best friend. You didn't know that yet. All right, so now that we've got the onions, we're going to do the next thing with the salsa. I actually love Pace chunky salsa, medium spice. They make mild, medium, and I think picante like hot. If your family is not into spice, use mild. I like kind of middle of the road. I don't think it's too much, and so I'm just going to grab this spoon a little bit. Get those onions out. So I'm gonna do half a cup, and I'm gonna have you spread it the same way you did the onions. You're just gonna dollop it all over, and then never fear because you're gonna use your new best friend, the dollop it around. And then after we get the salsa going, oh, the other thing is, see how thick it is? It's thick and chunky. Although I'm a real fan of making homemade salsa, a lot of homemade salsas, even if you go to places like Trader Joe's, you can get them in a tub, they're very liquidy. It's really more tomatoes and onions. We want it more like a pasta. I recommend something like this. There you go, and spread it to the corners a little bit. Perfect. Next, we are going to add our sour cream. Now, low-fat sour cream or fat-free sour cream, both work for this recipe. Have you tried fat-free sour cream? It's such a wonderful substitute for regular sour cream that you really don't miss the fat. And I discovered recently another substitute if you don't have, and I don't always have fat-free sour cream in my refrigerator, but I always have non-fat Greek yogurt. It's basically same product. So if you don't have sour cream, use yogurt. Jennifer, I'm gonna add you another little spoon here. So if you just dollop this all on, gonna make little pillows, little, willowy clouds, yeah. And we're gonna spread it, but this doesn't matter if it covers the casserole completely. So make your little sour cream pillows, and then you'll spread it. Perfect. Now take the spatula, take the other side so we don't have it all red, although it's going to turn a little red, and then spread it as carefully as you can to the corners. But again, it doesn't have to be exactly even. What I love about this casserole, and for that matter, cooking in general, baking is very precise, but cooking is magically forgiving. And so perfect. Just get a little bit more on those sides. And Jennifer, I'm going to top it off with a little bit of light cheese. Today I'm using Trader Joe's light Mexican blend. If you don't have that, you could use all cheddar or you can use mozzarella. But the interesting thing is you want your eye to see a lot of cheese, but we don't have to use a lot of cheese. So this is only about 1/4 cup. If you want to add a little bit more, that's fine. So I think we covered our tray, everything that was out we used. Now it's ready for the oven. So remember I said 420-degree oven. Loving my new Thermador oven. It's fantastic. I had another Thermador oven for about 12 years. I loved it. Now this is new and it's high tech and just thrilled. So I'm gonna put this, and listen, it whistles. It makes a little song. So I'm gonna move this. Let me get my towel. I'm gonna move this one in. It's not hot. And I already had one baking. Jennifer, come and take a look. This is what it looks like. And as you can see, everything kind of melted and incorporated. What I love about this casserole is serve it today, freeze the remainder, bring it to lunch tomorrow. I'm really a proponent of cooking and freezing. So much so that, you know, it's very stressful. You're a mom, you work, and it's very hard every night to say, what are we gonna make for dinner? How about taking one day a week, one night a week, a Sunday, whatever it is, and make 2 or 3 dishes. And then you gotta kind of spread out the week. One day you can have it, you know, this way. Another day you can add it with a salad. Another day you can add it with Mexican rice. I mean, the ideas are endless. You can be as imaginative as you can. But it's so much easier when you're taking out all your ingredients and cooking. Mess up your kitchen once, not every night. Too tough. Let me get a knife. We're gonna score it. So this casserole makes 6. And the good news is you get a very nice size casserole. Best way to score a casserole, you let it cool a little bit, and I loosen up the edges. And by the way, it would be really sticking if we didn't spray it. So I eye it, but I like to, if I'm making this for 4, you can see that you would just cut it this way and that way. 6 is a little trickier, so I cut it down the middle, then I turn it. Now watch, it's kind of, we have to do a third and a third. So it might not be absolutely perfect, but I'm kind of eyeing it. But I'm gonna get 6 nice slices out of this casserole. And 1 whole slice, let me plate it and I'll show you the size so you can get the full effect. I've got over here, Jennifer, you know, I'm always looking for fun things for the kids. So I said, one of the things you can do, how about serving it with a guacamole on a stick? So basically it's just lettuce, it's romaine lettuce and avocado and tomatoes. And I've layered it on these little sticks that you can get at any market. And then probably the most popular recipe on Skinny Kitchen is my skinny ranch dressing. And the reason being, it's under 22 calories a tablespoon. And it's so, or actually I think even lower than that. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of the ranch, and I'm gonna put a little salsa in it. So you'll see what I'm gonna do here. A little bit of my ranch, you can see how thick and creamy it is. If you don't want any salsa, you can just put the ranch dressing. But if you add a little salsa to the mix, it makes it, whoop, I'm making a mess here. It makes it a salsa ranch. So I'm gonna mix this up. See, it has a little bit of the Mexican flair, and then you just drizzle it over the salad. Now the kids can pick it up and just eat it off the stick, or most people like a shish kebab will just use their fork, but there we go. And then we'll grab our casserole. We're just about there. All right, Jennifer, it might not be pretty, but it's gonna be, it worked. Okay, so this entire casserole, which actually is quite big, is 323 calories, only 8 grams of fat. I'm gonna grab a fork for you, and I want you to dig in.
Can't wait. Thank you.
And you saw how easy it is.
Yes.
And so the other thing is, I go to the local place, Smart and Final, places like that. You can get these great containers, all sizes. So what I like to do is pack it up in a container. Thank you. Easy, and you can see you can do like a Mexican corn, a little bit of rice, or the salad. And when corn on the cob is in season, I love to do a grilled corn with this. It's wonderful, and a little bit of fruit salad. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a lot of skinny tips and cooking things to help you incorporate with your family, Jennifer. And so if you want the full recipe, go to skinnykitchen.com, and in the search bar, just look for skinny chicken and Mexican casserole. Okay, till next time, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Jennifer.